This tip is using SQL Views and SmartList Designer. If you're not familiar with SQL Views or even whatever SQL is, here's a little background. SQL is the database that your Microsoft Dynamics GP program lives on. It's not just used by GP, it's used by all kinds of different programs. So if you have an outside system, it probably lives on SQL as well. That means that you can combine data from those systems into GP. But in this case, what we're going to do is look at some SQL views that just use GP data. The reason that I like SQL views is that they do formatting and table combinations and things that could be very difficult if you did them manually, or they could even be impossible if you tried to do them manually from the front end by combining tables. On the screen, you'll see that I'm linking to a website, www.victoriauden.com. She's a really wonderful resource for GP. She's written several books, and she's included and provided a lot of different GP definitions on tables and SQL views on her website. So make sure you bookmark her website. We're going to go ahead and visit it right now. I'm going to just click it real quick. Should pop up back up. You can see I had it open already. I use it all the time. And we're going to go into GP reports and we're going to go into payables. One of the things that I like to do is for payables or receivables, figure out which check paid which invoice or what distributions were used, like the details of the distribution. So we're going to use that as an example. GL distributions for AP transactions. When you click on this, you're going to see a description, and we're going to see this. Now, this is all crazy looking code, and you don't need to learn code for this to work. And you're going to see that in the slides. I'll go back over the slides when we finish. We're just going to select this, and I'm just starting at number 1, and I'm going to end at the bottom, whichever one has a number, or the one that ends with the grant select to Dine group, whatever that line is. We're going to hit Control C. And when we hit Control C, we're going to go ahead and go back into SQL. Now, I happen to have SQL up and running because I'm running it on my test company. It's all very fake data. For you, you'll probably need to work with someone who has database access, your partner, somebody at that level. We don't want to give general users access to SQL because once you're in there, you could do some pretty crazy things. This is not adding data to your system. It's just combining or selecting it for a report. So it's not a dangerous thing to do, but giving people just blanket access to SQL is a terrible idea. So don't do that. We're going to go ahead and click execute. Mine is going to give us an error, and that's because I've loaded this one before. I wanted you to see the error. If you get this, it means someone has already loaded this SQL view, or there's a similar or same named, not similar, but same named view created. To get around this, you can add to the end. We're just going to go here and put a little extra. So I'm going to just do I'll put my company name at the end. Of course, we want to give Victoria credit, but just so that it's something that looks a little different, I'm the one loading it. So we're going to put my little company name there. It has to be the same at the beginning and the end, and then you can click execute. So that is what loads a SQL view. Now, the SQL view can be used over in GP. We're going to pick GP. I'm running GP 2018. This will go back several versions as long as you have SmartList Designer. It does work with Builder. I'll do a second video to show how to load these with Builder, but just this is running it with Designer. So what we're going to do is hit New, and we're going to call this AP Distributions. We'll just do underscore, and I'll say AP Distributions. And I'll say YouTube because this is where I'm loading this to. Probably have it on my website, and then my website will go, oh, there's stuff on YouTube too. Microsoft Dynamics GP is the product in this series we'll be purchasing. That's just selecting what folder it's going to go into. Okay. When the plus sign by company expands, you're going to see different SQL views. Some of these that have friendly names are ones Microsoft already created. Some they didn't give friendly names, so you could figure out if they'll help you. But we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. And any of the ones that start with the word view are typically ones I've downloaded from Victoria Uden's website. So we're going to look for AP distributions, and we added at the end Training Dynamo. There it is. And we're going to hit the little plus sign. You don't need to include all the columns, but you can. So if I want to include all columns, I just check the top box, and then all the columns are going to be included. I can check what's going to be loaded by hitting execute query to just preview. And I can go, yeah, that looks perfect. That's what I want to see. Oh, but you know what? I don't need those originating stuff. Because that's if I'm using multi-currency, and we just aren't on my system. So even though she includes those, I don't need them. So before I go ahead and close the window, I went ahead and turned those off. And that just makes it a little easier for me to read. We're going to go ahead and click OK. And now you're going to see this nice list. And what I can do with this is I can create reports. I can do all kinds of cool things with it. We have to do some security. I'm going to do that as a second video, so I'll start that one after we do this video. But what I wanted you to see with this is if I have a SQL view, in about 2 seconds, I can create a SmartList Designer report. We're going to stop this video for now, but what I'll do is real quick show you guys the slides that show you what we just did. We went to Victoria Uden's site. We found that view. You can download steps on my website here. If you go to the SmartList Designer and Builder section, I have a step-by-step section on that page. Basically, just copy all the lines, open SQL. We did that, and then we hit paste and hit execute. We want to make sure that you pick the company that you're going to load it into. Okay, you don't load it into Dynamics. You'd pick the company. In here, this is where we picked the fields that we wanted to show, and you can even see in this screenshot that I unchecked the currency. And then we're going to go through this in another video. So stay tuned for another video about publishing SmartList Designer reports and also security. We'll put that in the same video. For more information about any of the tips and tricks you've seen, or for questions about Microsoft Dynamics GP, visit my website, www.trainingdynamo.com. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Training Dynamo.